Hello and welcome back to the Golf Ireland podcast. I am Stevie Murphy, your co-host, joined by Valerie Wheeler. We're here back with another great episode. Valerie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm currently in Galway for the Galway races. There's fierce excitement. The tan is on. The dresses are here. I'm ready for road. I have the fascinators for my head. It's all very glam. It's my first time being at the races, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, we're in the same county for like the first time I think since we started this podcast. But
Yeah.
I won't be at the races unfortunately. Yeah, no, I haven't been yet either. I've been living in Galway 8 years and I've never been to the Galway races. I feel like it's sacrilege, but it should be a good buzz around. Are you excited?
Yeah, do you know what I am? I'm there for like 2 fun days, to be honest. I'm really looking forward. Today is going to be Ladies' Day. The Thursday, of course, is always. So can you imagine the style will be fierce? So I feel like they're all gonna put in their best efforts. So I'm really excited to get out there and meet them. And yeah, if you're listening to the pod and you see me come on over, your style might just make the TV.
Definitely. Say you listen to the Golf Ireland podcast and Valerie will take a selfie with you. I never
Yeah,
know.
you get
Um,
a discount for
At this,
something.
yeah, for something. Even though we're not selling anything. I was down at Lahinch last weekend. Well, I was down this Saturday to watch some of the South of Ireland championship. I got a glorious day of weather, which contrasts to the year before, where I got absolutely dry, nearly got pneumonia probably. And it was absolutely incredible. A reminder of just how bloody good these golfers are. I followed Colin Campbell and Josh Hill around for most of their round, and I've yet to see a stripe show like it. It was just so impressive. Josh Hill, I've never seen a man wallop a ball as hard as he does. He makes it look very simple. And Colin Campbell, as everyone knows, defending champion, um, is just a class act and very nice to chat to. I was chatting away, I was picking his brain around the course, which I'm sure he didn't appreciate. But I got to see Min. I know I was asking him. He had a really nice shot into, I think it was the fourth. And I was like, "What did you hit there?" And he's like, "4 iron." I was like, "Oh, that's such a nice trajectory." And he's like, "Yeah, it took some, yeah, real geeky stuff." But I also,
Sure he loved that. Now he's probably like, will he ever
I
go
know
away?
he's gonna get on to the golf and be like, "Get rid of that lad." He's a dose. But I also got to see a hole in one live in front of me. Not only a hole in one in the South of Ireland Championship to win a quarterfinal match. It
Class.
was super impressive. It was the eventual winner, Patrick Adler, who holed it on the 16th tee. He was three up, so he was dormy. His opponent hit it into about 20 feet, and then he stood up, hits it to landed about 4 feet short, rolled it up in the hole, and his family and friends were behind the green. It was just incredible. An incredible way to win your quarterfinal and then to go on and actually win the entire event. So brilliant stuff from him, and a great day on Saturday. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the Sunday, but some great. It's a great championship. Lahinch is a fantastic course. It's just great to watch. I haven't played it yet before, but I definitely will at some stage in my life.
Have you ever had a hole in one yourself?
Not even close. My friend Cahir, on his stag in Lisbon, me and him hung around for 2 more days to play golf, and he had a hole in one on his stag in Lisbon, which was pretty cool.
I mean, that's setting up a great marriage, isn't it?
It
I'd
is,
say
and the only
he'd
problem
fit
was
down the aisle after that.
it was a match against me, and he won the hole, obviously. So that wasn't the great part of it, but we digress. It was good fun, but Valerie, we want an update from you. You've some bad news in terms of your marathon plans and your running.
I do. So obviously, y'all know that a couple of weeks ago I did land myself in a boot and some crutches, and we thought that I suppose the injury wasn't as bad as it was, but an MRI last week has told me that I actually have a broken ankle, which is setting and maybe setting wrong. So I should know soon enough if it needs to be operated on or not. But that ends my marathon journey for this year. I'm not saying for good, I'm saying for this year. I obviously don't have time on my side now because between the jigs and the reels, I suppose by the time I get the news in an operation or not, it's too late for me to try and partake because I don't have time on my side. So yeah, I'm obviously devastated and frustrated. I feel like I've let loads of people down. I obviously was devastated last week, but I feel like I'm over it now because I've told everyone and everyone has been so supportive and lovely about it. So I'll just have to get back on the all wagon now and sort the ankle and go again next year.
Absolutely. You've let nobody down at all, Valerie, and you'll be back better than ever next year. And we're going for 2.5 hours next year. That's the
For do
target.
it me next year, yeah.
Absolutely not. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But look, we'll discuss that offline. We had a great guest this week, Valerie, with Conor Moore, as people on probably listening know him better as Conor Sketches. which is a great guest I had on. We had a great conversation with him about basically how he got into the impressions, his career since, his love of golf, which, as you'll find out here, he's just as much of a golf nut as anyone they ever come across. Me and him had some nice geeky sessions. Sorry for you, Valerie, there for having to listen to all that, but it was a great conversation, and we'll throw to that conversation right now.
This week, we're delighted to be joined by a viral sensation and our very own Irishman. We're claiming you because you are. Conor Moore, welcome to the pod.
Thanks very much, Valerie. Yeah, well, if the English start claiming me, you know I'm seriously successful. So I'm still just going nicely.
Look, everyone knows you as Conor Sketches, and we need to go back to how it all started, and we will get your golf journey in just a little bit. But for what I know of you, I feel like I'm an OG because I have been watching you for years. But you're a Mullingar man, and you were selling phones before all this kicked off, Conor. Is that right?
I do undersell it a little bit sometimes. I was selling phones. I was in college. I have a degree in business finance from DCU. I did that for a while, and that bored the whole off me. And I came out, and then I seen this job with Vodafone, and I ended up going selling phones with them, knocking on doors. And then I went with Three Ireland for a while. And yeah, when I was working with them, then I just did a video one day of a GA thing, a match in Mullingar. There was a fight. I made a video on it, put it on the internet, got 60,000 views. I felt I was world famous, and I quit my job the next day and said, "Well, this is the life."
And have you always been good at the impressions? Is it something that you just naturally had straight away, or was that something that you're like, oh, I can kind of pick up the intricacies here?
Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely have naturally a little bit of it. Like a lot of people do. Like I don't know what it is around here. Niall Horan is actually really good at impressions when he does like accents and stuff like that. So I was always able to do accents. And then I would one of my mates who actually gives me a hand sometimes with writing stuff when I'm having writer's block. I call into his house. But me and him are mates since we were 6, and he was like my only friend when I was a kid that actually enjoyed my impressions, I think, and would make me do them. And he's a real good eye for a joke and stuff like that. So I kind of did them to him for a while, and then didn't do them for years. And then I don't know, I seen lads online, like at the time, it was around 2016, and Rory Stories and Al Four and Giz a Laugh, all these were Enya. They were all kind of doing content online. And I had thought of it before about my impressions. Like I was like, geez, I maybe should send a tape in somewhere. But like it never was going to do it, like, and then obviously Oliver and Mario in Ireland like kind of have it, one is with RT, one is Communicorp, which are the big communication networks. So like getting in the door would be kind of impossible nearly. So then I just thought, others, you can put this on a phone and maybe build up your own following. And I've just been doing that since then, really.
Was your first viral video that Mullingar one, or was it a golf one from that Garcia retweeted?
Well, that was 2 years later. So I was doing GA stuff for 2 years. I probably was doing GA stuff for a year, then 6 months, then started doing soccer stuff. The soccer stuff got me a job in Joe.ie. And then when I was in there, then I was there for a year and a half, and I was getting itchy feet. And because there's only so long you can actually keep going with the same stuff kind of to like an audience that isn't yours. And I ended up then, like, I loved golf. My father became the captain of Mullingar Golf Club, and he was at me to do loads of gigs down there. And I was like, I can only do one. Like, I was like, I can't go down with the same old shtick, like, to the same people and stuff. And then I did a gig for him when he came in, and it was full of Irish people. And then I thought, well, maybe I could do a gig here where you're doing golfers. You're doing, like, the Tigers and the Poulters and these lads. And that's how that was a brainchild I had in the end of 2017. Spent then the next 4 months just practicing people, and I put the video out, and Sergio retweeted it, and one or two others did as well. I can't remember who, but I remember like my phone, that was the first time my phone went like dead. It was, blowing up and turning off on me. It was just going nuts. Like all the notifications were ding, 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 ding. It's crazy.
I was going to say, do you still have notifications turned on your phone for all these apps, or are they gone?
No, I don't. Yeah, the notifications are gone. Back then, I used to love it. The buzz was just getting me going. Now the buzz just annoys me.
What is it about impressions, Conor, that just seem to make people laugh? Like, what is there a certain aspect to it, or is it just, I don't know. I don't understand it myself. It's funny, and I don't even necessarily know why.
You're after telling me I'm not funny?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I said this a week ago to somebody. I'm like, what in God's name? I remember I was looking at the history of it one day, because I actually recently only started kind of trying to study comedy, like, and stuff, because there's a science behind jokes and stuff. There's literally an equation, I was looking at like back in the day, hundreds of years ago, impressionists kind of started like, I'm sure everybody could like make fun of anybody, but court jesters or whatever would one of Rory McIlroy's managers actually sent that on to me one day, Donald, and I started looking into it then. I was like, yeah, so like the old kings or whatever royalty would pay someone, and they're the only people in the town or village or wherever, the kingdom, that were allowed to take the mickey out of the king or whatever. So that in itself was like kind of, I think, the beginning of sort of impressions from what I've read so far anyway. So people have always liked that. And people ask me as well, they're like, are you ever nervous doing it in front of people? Where I'm like, no, not at all, because I know everybody loves it. Like I've done it for so long now that I know if I sit on the stage beside somebody and I start doing them, it doesn't even have to be that good. People just love it. Like people just love seeing somebody watch somebody take the mick out of them. It's just such a nice thing. And once you're not doing it in a really callous or a sinister way, I'm not really, I don't know, I just wouldn't feel right. Like there's been impressions that I've put in the bin where I was like, nah, it's not really fun anymore. If you know, it's because it's nice to punch up. It's not really nice to punch down. You know, so that's kind of
Fair enough. No, that's all right. You're right that it's like you have to be careful that you're not close to the bone, but you're kind of close enough that you don't go over the line. Like you know clearly where the line is.
yeah, and you have to. And sometimes you got to go over the line and be told you crossed the line and then go back the other way and stuff like that's going to happen. And like definitely, the longer I do this and stuff, I kind of, when I started out, I didn't care. I used to post up stuff and not care. I didn't care. And then all of a sudden I started making a living doing it. And then all of it, you're like, oh, this is important now. Better not mess this up. You start second guessing everything and sending it to people. And now I'm going back the other way a little bit, like where I'm like, I just don't care. Just put it up. Like, you know, no one's going to die if someone gets offended by a joke or something. So like, it is what it is.
And there's a change as well when you start meeting these people because you're like, okay, they've seen this. Like Tiger Woods has seen my impression of him. What if he doesn't appreciate it?
Yeah. No, to be fair, like I say, like, and when I say about like not caring about throwing it up there, like like I'd never throw it up and be like, oh, that fella's gonna hate this. You know what I mean? I don't actually make or create like a character with that in mind. So usually I'd be kind of thinking, ah, they like it, like, you know what I mean? They should anyway. Maybe not everybody. Maybe not DJ or Davy Fitz. They might not like it. But like Tiger, I kind of knew it. Listen, when I met him, like he was after agreeing to do an ad with me. So that in itself showed he liked it. He wasn't bringing me down to surprise me and hit me a slap in the face. I didn't think so. And I was shocked. Like he had watched loads of my videos and even some of the GA videos and was talking to me about them. Like he was such like a gent the day to shoot. Like he made me very relaxed, I have to say, when I got in there.
Tiger Woods, big Ger Loughnane fan is what we're after finding out.
He did. He literally said to me, "Who's the guy you do with the condom on your head, dude?" And I was like, and I thought he was on about Butch Harmon because I did Butch once in a video, and he was like, "No, it wasn't Butch. It was you. You were beside the guy. You were on stage, and it was really funny. I didn't know who the guy was, but it was funny." And I was like, "Oh, that's Ger Loughnane." He's like, "Yeah, girl."
Let's talk about these big opportunities that you have been handed over the year. And I must say they're massive and well deserved, Conor, to be honest. Like, were you nervous at all doing it? Like, were you nervous meeting Tiger Woods, beside, putting your impression to the side, even meeting him as a person, you know, knowing how well respected and how much of an amazing golfer he is?
Oh yeah. You of course you are, like, you know, and then well, you're obviously nervous like when you meet them for the first minute or two and then it goes like, but again, I'd be more nervous doing a gig sort of than actually meeting the lads. I kind of find like usually when I meet someone, like when you meet sports people, if you're into sports, like you always have something to talk about. Like it's never really dead or flat. So it was actually very, very easy. Like we were 8 hours that day, like shooting the ad and stuff. And yeah, he was very, very cool. Talked about anything. But yeah, I find if you know your sport and stuff like that, like people, it's pretty easy to keep the conversation going. But you are, to answer your question, you're definitely a bit nervous depending on who you meet.
Yeah.
You know, but then some of them comment on stuff online. So when you meet them, you know it's going to be good crack. Like I remember meeting Poulter for the first time and I was like, I made a beeline straight for him. I was like, I'm going to enjoy this, you know? All right, mate. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I don't think you sound like me at all, but it's so good.
Boulder's always been my favorite just because he's such a larger than life character. But
Yeah.
can we talk about some golf now? I'd
Oh,
love to
yes.
get into your golf because I know you're a golf nut, Connor, like the majority of us, and Valerie's becoming one, slowly but
Mm.
surely, which is great. But it's a crazy game, it's a frustrating game. We all fall in love with it for different reasons. Why did you fall in love with golf?
Uh, I fell in love with it for a reason that like I fell in love with it because it was relaxing. I used to, because when I played different sports or work or anything, like I remember even before I ever got in this, or even when I used to like work selling phones or work in when I worked for the finance company in Dublin, I remember we used to sit there and be playing a competition on Sunday and I'd be drawing out the Mullingar map of where bunkers are and stuff. Literally anything to avoid doing a bit of work. And I remember a fella coming over to me and catching me, and he was like my manager at the time. And I thought he was going to be like, "What are you doing?" Like, and he just looked at me. He goes, "I do the same thing." Yeah, it's pathetic. And I was like, "Yeah, it is pathetic." Yeah. So I always liked it for that. And then, like, obviously, the more seriously you take it, then it kind of breaks your heart a bit. But yeah, and I played it for years up until I would say this year. I played it to a point where I always enjoyed it. And then this year I started taking it really seriously and I put a lot of pressure on myself and I put it out on the internet that I was going to do this, that, and the other. And I was like, right, I have to do this. And there was a couple of evenings I was down there in Mullingar, I'd go play 9 holes. And I literally was like, I remember one evening I was on the 7th hole and I was like, I think I was quadruple bogey now. I'm on my own, like, and I'm like, oh, this has turned not fun for me. I was like, I am now not enjoying these lovely twilight evenings and the 9 holes and stuff. But thankfully, a couple of weeks later, it all turned.
Good. Yeah, that's the game of golf, isn't it? So frustrating. Stephen comes on here some weeks. He's like, it's great. I had a brilliant weekend. And then next week I'm his therapist when it comes to the golf. You did say you're going to lower the handicap this year. How's it going?
I just played last night. I'm down to 11 point. I was 15.8 or something. I'm down to 11.1. So the target is to get below 10 into the
Well
single
done.
figures. And to break 80. I broke 80, thankfully, already. So that was the big frustration. Like, obviously, I was determined this year I'm going to get better at golf. So I contacted Harrington. I met Harrington at the Irish Open last year, and I told him that because I had planned on doing this for 2 years, but like between traveling and I was building a house and everything else, it's hard. Like, you need to put time into golf,
Mhm.
and then if you're working as well, it's like it's tough. So this year I said I'm definitely doing it. So I contacted Harrington. I talked to him last year, and he said, "Yeah, I'll give you a lesson at some point." And he actually sent me a Twitter DM about 2 weeks later saying, "I've had a look at your swing. This is what you're doing wrong, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, cool." But I didn't play after that. I hurt my hip. The day he texted me, I actually hurt my hip playing golf in Tralee. And not seriously or anything, but it was a bit of a strain. Didn't play golf then until March. Harrington then said something on the Champions Tour that he could get anybody to single figures. And I sent it to him and I was like, "Do you want me to be your guinea pig?" And he was like, "Right, K Club, 2 or 3 weeks." So at the end of April there, we met down at the K Club and it was the most amazing day ever. First off, you're meeting someone that like is someone you've watched for years on TV. And I wouldn't have actually, of all the golfers, Irish lads, like be it Shane, Rory or that, I would have met Pádraig the least. And I suppose that's because like he obviously is in the Champions Tour the last couple of years. But he was amazing. I just can't speak highly enough of the man. He was brilliant. Like, we went through stuff, we went through everything, and then a big thing was like course management. Like, he was saying to me, I could easily play it to single figures or even five with your swing as it is now. But I would take a shot and it would go miles out to the left. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And then I'd hit it down the middle. And I'm like, well, yeah, that was good. And he's like, no, no. See, you've it all wrong. Your good shots are your bad shots, and your bad shots are your good shots. And I was like, what are you? Like, I just thought, like, he's not even making sense here. And he's like, look at your numbers here. When you're hooking that ball to the left, your 7 iron is going like 165, 170. He said, and when you hit it down the middle dead straight, it's going about 148, 150. So that's a miss hit. So it's like you just need to get this right. Get the ball starting out there and land it. You obviously don't want to hook it too much, obviously, but like he was saying, if you start drawing the ball, you're going to be longer, you're going to be better, and you will be more accurate. Like, and he was just even the chipping that I did. The best part of my game at the minute is like my chipping. I played last night in Mullingar, a Breaking 80 episode, played with Corey Doherty, who's like the head coach down there, or the head pro. And he's been a massive help, like working with him. So I brought him with me for the lessons. So he watched everything and it came back. And even he said, like, the chipping he was showing you, he was like, that's the quite advanced. Like, you need to have a good touch or whatever. But the best part of my game is probably my short game, my chipping. Like, it just showed me a whole different way of chipping. I was kind of going from in to out and everything would run on. And now I go from out to in, sort of, and kind of cut across the ball. My up and downs, like, I would say I'm getting like, let's just say if you're in, like, sometimes my irons aren't great, but I would say I'm getting 3 or 4 up and downs a round, which is huge for me. But yeah, it was amazing. And about a couple, it's funny. He texted me about 2 weeks after the lessons, and he's like, or about a week after the lessons, did you break 80 yet? And I was like, no. Obviously, I played golf once, and I was like, to be honest with you, I played a bit worse. Because when you're changing so much stuff and you're trying to hit a draw and you're hitting like, and it's not even a fade, it's a slice. It's a big change. And then I played the K Club and I went out. I actually played Mullingar, shot 41 for the front nine on a Wednesday or Tuesday. And I text Gary Murphy and I'm like, Gary, I need to play the K Club there Friday. Can you get me on? He says, yeah, if we're out first thing in the morning. I says, I'm hot. I think I could go and break 80. I shot 98. It was terrible. Awful. I was like, I lost my head. I sliced the first one and lost my head, and I was walking around, and what annoyed me about it was all the stuff Harrington talks to me about, like routine and stuff like that, which, like, no matter what happens on the golf course, you can still do your routine. You can still do some of the stuff he told me, even if I'm not hitting great shots. So I like came home, and like you were saying there, Valerie, about being a therapist, like my wife was looking at me come in. I was in the shower for 45 minutes, my head looking at the ground, and all I was thinking about was Pádraig Harrington and how I was after disappointing him. I literally was just there like, oh my God. And then it took me about 4 weeks to even put the episode up online. And I actually put it up quietly, didn't publicize it. And about 4 hours after I went up, Harrington, what did you shoot in Pinehurst? He was after seeing the episode or whatever. And I was like, I shot 96. And he was like, you should have broken 80 by now. Like, it was about 6 weeks maybe after the lessons with him. And it put me under so much pressure. My wife was looking at me and she's like, well, what are you doing? Like, this is not your job, your work. Like, you need to focus on your work and not golf, because I was gone every day. 2 weeks later, then I went out, long story short, and had the round of my life. But I knew it was coming together. My driving just wasn't good. I couldn't figure out the drive. That was the last thing to come. And then I shot 76. And I texted him, told him, and then he puts out a tweet and he goes, well, that was fast. After him telling me, like, how long, you should have done it already. You should have done it this year. He puts out a tweet and he goes, well, that was fast. So it kind of was fast from where I was. Like, I hadn't broken 90 in a year. My best score was 91. And I was shooting like 98s, 100s. Like, it was just bad. And now, like, I'm shooting consistently. I've played a few times and I'm shooting mid 80s, which is like where, if I'm playing average now, it's a mid 80s round. So like, that's good. So if I play good, like I can nearly like I'm threatening to break 80.
Unreal.
Mid 80s is a single finger handicapper though, and a 9 handicap would be shooting on average probably in the mid to high 80s. That's just how the handicap system works. So you're very, very close. And listening to you there, Conor, me and you are quite similar, I think, when it comes to golf, because I'm addicted too. I play off about 7 at the moment, and it's kind of like some days I come home and I feel on top of the world. Other days I'm like selling the clubs on done deal tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? Then there's no real in between either. So it's been disaster, but
would you believe when Harrington texted me, actually, I texted him back a big long message kind of going, oh, like, everything's better. Like, definitely my irons are better. My chipping's better. My putting's better. I'm really struggling with the drive. And I was going to send this message, and I was sitting beside my wife at the table anyway. And I started, there was sometimes you send a message to someone, you read it back. So I started reading back my own message. And my wife goes, are you actually reading back your own message to Pádraig Harrington? Like, she's like, you do that when you're 14. And I was like, so I put the phone down, and then phone dings, Paddy Harrington. I picked it up and I'm like this, and my wife comes over. She's like, oh, tell me, what did he say? What did he say? So even she was like making a laugh at me with it. But yeah, thankfully got it. I genuinely, there was some days I came home there and I was like, oh, like, I've nearly ruined the game on myself because I put this pressure on myself to do it. And I was like, oh, I'll be embarrassing now if I go the whole year and I don't do it. So if I shoot another couple of rounds in the low 80s or break 80 again, like, I should get into the single figures. So I think I'm trending nicely.
But this thing about golf, the scratch will be the next goal. Then there's no ending to the golf thing. But just on Harrington there, I think he's the best golf brain ever. I think, like, watching him, he's fascinating to listen to, and he just gets it. And the series, like the series he's putting up, when you think about it, this is a 3-time major winner devoting his time for free on YouTube to try and get people better at golf. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And I love the psychological warfare he's playing with you as well, with the text messages. That's quality stuff.
After I did it, like, I was chatting to Ronan Flood, like Paddy's caddy, and he was like, he's going to be on you now. he's going to be watching out. He's going to be texting you. He was like, he's not going to like back off, and you're not going to hear from him or something for a while. Like, and like, believe you me, he did put the pressure. And you know what? If he didn't do that, I don't know. Like that day when after I came back from the K Club, and I was like, I genuinely felt like I'd let like my father down or something. That's the way I was like. And if he didn't text me that day, like I went on a rampage for 2 or 3 weeks where I was like, right, I've got to get this right. I was going down to Mullingar every evening, going out on my own around 8:30, like just going playing, getting through 9 holes, hitting a few different shots, stuff like that. And to be fair, like there is no, so anybody can give you lessons and give you whatever, but there's no substitute for just putting in the reps. Like you just have to, because golf is so he can show you this and show you that. But like when I played the K Club, he showed me a lot of stuff and I felt I had better shots. And all of a sudden, when I hit one bad shot, I reverted to type and just completely lost my head. And I was hitting slices upon slices and just couldn't hit the ball the way I was hitting it in the lead up to it. Like I realized then I was like, it's going to take a while to embed this into my head. But it is, to be fair, it's flipped now again. And I'm just, since then, just in love with it. Like I can't get enough of it. Again, the twilight evenings are back. The sun is shining. The world is the perfect place. I'm walking around just chipping balls around Mullingar there.
Like, you'd know the golf was going well, wouldn't you, with a man? Like, you're just so like, life is great. It's so amazing, the buzz that you get off it.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
That's what you need. You need to be getting a buzz off because, like, even I was playing Pinehurst and I'm like, you know, I'm playing these lovely courses. I played St Andrews in one episode and I'm like, you just want to enjoy it, like, and not just hitting everywhere.
When it comes to all the opportunities you get and all the maybe the golf clubs that you do go to, do you get to play them all?
Pretty much like if I don't know if there's places that I've tried not gone into. Obviously, I've never played. People do ask me, "Did you ever play Augusta?" I'm like, no, that's like obviously you can't ask to play Augusta. I've never played Augusta. That would be obviously a dream. But yeah, I've played all like really. There's a couple in Ireland that I haven't played that I want to play. Like I haven't played like Waterville. You know, I want to go up to Cairn. You know, Ross's Point. There's a few of them I definitely want to play. Like, but like in Ireland, you're just spoilt though for choice. It's so good, like everywhere. You know, and to be honest with you, I live beside for me the best parkland in Ireland. Like, and again, I've played so many of them, but like I just think Mullingar. I played it last night, and the condition is it's in the work they do on the course, it's just perfect. It's like sometimes, like even last night, me and Corey were standing on a couple of holes, and it was like I felt like I was like in Florida or something. The grass was just so perfect, and it obviously it's the Scratch Cup this weekend, so it's probably this time of year where it is in perfect nick. But it's like someone said to me last night, they were like, "Yeah, but it's in this nick all year round. It isn't like it's not. Oh, sorry, obviously in the winter it can't be in that nick, but for the summer months, it's like that all summer. Like it's just it really is so good. Like."
Yeah, you're doing a great job promoting for us. Mullingar Scratch Cup kicks off Sunday the 4th. Yeah, I think yeah, the way you're describing there, it seems to be a bit of a hidden gem. I've heard that from a few people with the course. And it says attracting some of the best amateurs in the country. Will you be down there yourself, Connor, watching?
Do you know what? Most years I'm not here for whatever reason. I've been out of the country or I've had gigs or something, and I get down for maybe a bit of it or whatever. But this weekend I am there Sunday and I'm there Monday. I actually can't wait. We have a new hole. The 18th hole is not, no, it's not brand new. They kind of redeveloped it a bit, but they put a couple of pop bunkers there in the or a couple of fairway bunkers along the fairway on the 18th, which kind of for the bigger hitters, for the guys hitting at 300, it just makes you think, will they take driver? I'm just interested to see like how a few players, again, just from playing loads of golf now and kind of thinking about the game different. I'm looking forward to going down and seeing how these best amateurs in Ireland actually navigate like the course and certain holes and what they'd like. I'm always interested on the fourth. Like if you're long enough, do you go for the green? It's a par 5, but like left or right, you're in such big trouble. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've 4 Mullingar lads playing in it this weekend as well. So yeah, I can't wait for it. It's the first year I've been really kind of, again, I've gone down bits and bobs the last couple of years. This year, I'm really excited for it. Like I'm kind of taking it all in this week and studying the form.
Yeah, you'll be out there watching, giving them the advice that Harrington gives you in the middle of it.
Yeah, listen, I've said it. If someone needs a caddy, here I am. Course knowledge. I could be like fellow with Matt Kuchar. I just want me 10%.
Yeah. Connor, before we let you go, what's next for you? Like, is there a tour happening? Is there something exciting happening that we can keep an eye out for?
There is a tour happening, but it's not happening until about this time next year. So we're in the process of locking all that in. We're going to do another Conor Sketches, go around Ireland and do a proper tour. At the minute, I've a couple of big things coming out online. A lot of I have a big ad coming out in the near future that should do pretty well. Features a bit of a legend.
Any more hints? Come on.
Of what sport? Yeah, can we? Legend of what
that's
sport?
all I could say. He's a sports star, all right, yeah.
That doesn't really narrow it down much.
Yeah,
Conor.
yeah. What country are we talking?
He's European. He's a human.
I'm gonna guess Roger Federer. Valerie, you can get your guess in there.
Oh my God, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It could be anyone. If it's Conor Moore, it could be anybody that he ends up next to. Conor, it's honestly a pleasure to watch all those videos. Keep them coming. I really do enjoy them. Before I let you go, you did mention the start, Davy Fitz. I mean, have you ever met him? Does he enjoy the impression you give of him, or?
I did. I met him one time years ago at a charity gig, and I did the impression. And Marty Morris, he said, "So at the end of it, Davy, what do you think of that?" And Davy goes, "Yeah, look, if people are laughing, they're laughing, so fair play to them." So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that does. That mean like he wanted to elbow me? I don't know. He was a very nice man, I have to say, when I met him. Yeah, him and DJ are on the list, I think, of people that could give me the old elbow. But
keep them going. Yeah. We enjoyed them too much for you to stop. All right.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a million. And fair play to you. You're doing great work.
Thank you, Conor. Appreciate it. Okay, now it's time for some news updates. We'll start in the professional game. Conor Purcell claimed a maiden challenge tour title with victory at the Black Desert Northern Ireland Open at Galgorm. Purcell signed for a 1 over par final round of 71 to finish 13 under par for the week, one shot clear of overnight leader Joachim Lagergen on a dramatic final day in County Antrim. Purcell now climbs to 4th in the season-long Road to Mallorca rankings. Brilliant there win for Conor Purcell, so absolutely delighted for him from everyone here at Golf Ireland. The Challenge Tour remains in Ireland this week at the Irish Challenge. It tees off in the K Club. Purcell will be in the field alongside fellow Irishmen Ronan Mullarney, Conor O'Rourke, Daniel Mulligan, Gary Hurley, Jonathan Caldwell, Liam Nolan, Darren McElroy, John Murphy, Simon Thornton, Liam Grehan, Robert Moore, Mark Power and Alex Maguire. So plenty of Irish to support there this week at the K Club. The first round of play at Le Golf National for the Olympics gets underway today as Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy go in search for gold. So best of luck there to Shane and Rory. Exciting to have the Olympics back. It was a tied 5th finish for Pádraig Harrington at the Senior Open Championship in Carnoustie. Harrington was the best of the Irish, finishing 2 under par. Darren Clark finished tied 13th and Peter Lowry finished tied 29th. On the PGA Tour, Seamus Power finished tied 37th at the 3M Open in Minneapolis with a final score of 7 under par. On the LPGA Tour, Leon Maguire was the best of the Irish at the CPKC Women's Open in Canada, finishing 57th. Unfortunately, Stephanie Meno missed the cut. On the Clutch Pro Tour, it tees up this week in Redditch. Stuart Grehan, Robert Brazel, Rowan Lester and Conor Murta in the field there at Redditch. So best of luck to all involved. On the PGA Tour Americas, it was a miscut for Paul Conroy at the Commissionaries Ottawa Open in Canada. Conroy will be in the field for the BioSteel Championships taking place this week. That wraps up all the professional games, so we'll head over to the amateur news now. Patrick Adler claimed this year's Piers Motors Volkswagen South of Ireland Amateur Open Championship. The Chicago native and overseas member of Lahinch defeated Millicent's Brian Dorn in the final with a 3-2 victory sealed on the 16th hole. The same hole that Adler carried his first ever hole-in-one on to win his quarter-final match, and I was there in person to see it. It was absolutely spectacular, a fantastic shot. In the AIG Women's and Girls Amateur Close is underway this week in Roscommon. The match play stage is getting underway today, so keep an eye on the social medias for all the latest results and best luck to all involved. The Irish teams have been selected for the RNA Women's and Men's Home Internationals taking place in Scotland next week. The action gets underway at Mercer Links between the 7th and the 9th of August. On the women's team, Sarah Byrne is selected alongside Beck Coulter, Anya Donegan, Emma Fleming, Anna Foster, Kate Lanigan, and Aideen Walsh. On the men's side, we have Paul Coughlin, Colin Campbell, Hugh Foley, Ryan Griffin, Thomas Higgins, Josh Hill, Sean Keeling, Liam Nolan, and Luke O'Neill. So 2 very, very strong teams. Best of luck there to both teams. The Irish boys and girls home international teams are also set to travel to Conway in Wales for the home internationals between the 6th and 8th of August, and the teams have been confirmed. The team of 9 boys and 7 girls will play a full round-robin series against England, Scotland and Wales. Each match will comprise of 7 foursome matches, 3 girls and 4 boys, and 14 singles matches, 6 girls and 9 boys. And the boys team, we have Fionn Dobbin, John Doyle, Finlay Eager, Rory Gallagher, Robert Gary, Mark Gazzi, Louis Goodman, Harry McArdle and Jack Murphy. And then on the girls team, we have Anna Abom, Olivia Costello, Kate Dillon, Holly Hamilton, Hannah Lee McNamara, Ellen O'Shaughnessy and Roisin Scanlon. So best of luck there to both teams as well, and the boys and girls. And then finally, we have an Order of Merit update. Brian Dorn, runner-up this year's South of Ireland Open Championship, has taken a massive leap up the Bridgestone's men's Order of Merit rankings. A strong performance in Lahinch has moved the Millicent golfer up 14 places in the table to the 7th spot. Matthew McLean remains top of the tree, but the gap has narrowed slightly with Paul Coughlin's run to the last 32 of the South of Ireland, reducing the deficit between the top two to 217 points. The men will not have a long wait for a chance to add points to their tally as the Mullingar Men's Scratch Trophy gets underway on Sunday, August 4th, this Sunday. Then on the women's 18, Walsh claimed her 3rd Scratch Cup title of the year at the Hermitage Golf Ladies Scratch Cup, further cementing her spot at the summit of this season's Bridgestone Women's Order of Merit. Her form this year in the Scratch Cups have been absolutely incredible. Walsh has had success in 3 cups and quarter of top 10 finishes in the rankings appearance this season, which have her break the 1,000-point barrier, leaving a 134-point gap to the closest rival, Anna Abom there. So still all to play for in both Order of Merits. That will wrap up the news in both the pro and amateur game. We hope you enjoyed this episode as always. Hope you enjoyed our conversation with our guest Conor Moore, and we'll be back next week, myself and Valerie, for another episode, and we will see you then.